Hey, what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? This is the Mansplaining Mike Show, where wokeness comes to die. I'm your host, Mansplaining Mike, and today we're going to go over how we as Christians, we're the chosen ones. That's what the Bible says. It says it from the Old Testament all the way to the New Testament. A lot of people don't like to say that the Old Testament brought up Jesus, but it absolutely did. The Old Testament was setting it up so that Jesus would come forward and that Christians would follow him. The chosen people would follow him. And the ones who didn't, they were banished to beyond Damascus. And I mean, that's the real story of Israel if you guys want to get into it. This new Israel that we have around right now, that's not the biblical Jews. The biblical Jews were people from Judea. That's all that Jews stood for. And the people of Israel were people that accepted Christ. The rest of the people were kicked out. So this version of Israel we have now, it's definitely not the version from the past, guys. The Edomites were kicked out. And these guys that we have in there now, those are the Edomites. But anyway, guys, let's get into it. So this first clip is just more proof that Christ is king, guys.
I'm not a Christian. I'm a follower of Christ.
When a Jew tells you there is no such thing as a dying and rising Messiah, you won't find it in the Hebrew Bible. Yes, I can. There is no concept of a God-man in the Hebrew Bible. Where does my Bible say that Messiah is God? Doesn't exist, he's just a man. Show me what passage in the Hebrew Bible would we quote to prove that the Messiah, the son of David, is God in the flesh? Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And he shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And boy, did the Jews try to explain this away. Boy, do they try to explain this away. The Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Mighty God, that's an important title because it's only used one other time in the book of Isaiah. Go to Isaiah 10:20-21.
In that day, the remnant of Israel and the survivors of the house of Jacob will no more lean on him who struck them, but will lean on the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. A remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God.
So the Lord is the mighty God, right? Go to 9:6 real quickly. Because in 9:6, what were we told about the mighty God?
For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be on his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God.
Okay, now you baffled me. A child is born who's the mighty God. So that mighty God will be born as a baby. But Isaiah 10 told me that mighty God is Jehovah. So you're telling me Isaiah said Jehovah will be born as a baby? A God baby? A God man? But I thought that's New Testament teaching. Why is that in the Old Testament? You Christians,
To the Jews, the Muslims, at least they've acknowledged the coming of Jesus Christ, and they called him prophet. Not bad. But the Jews, they've denied his entire existence. They said he hasn't come yet. We're still waiting for the Messiah. And you believe in Yahweh? Which Yahweh? Your Yahweh is Jesus Christ, my dear Jewish friend. Your Yahweh is Jesus Christ. The Yahweh of the Old Testament is Jesus Christ of the New Testament. He's come and he's gonna come again.
Exactly, guys. The Old Testament, it's just a platform to get people ready for Jesus coming. That's all it is. And the Jewish people, they don't like to acknowledge that. And that's why, unfortunately, we have to pray for them. I mean, we have to pray for our enemies. It says so in the Bible. Not only that, we have to pray for people to accept Christ. We want everybody to become a Christian and be saved. We don't want to see any of our brothers end up in hell. Anyway, guys, let's keep going. Let's see what Candace Owens was talking about. She was calling them a gang. And I think she's right, guys. What do you think?
I'm just going to say it. Like, there's Jewish gangs out there. Or I'm just going to say it. Like, this pattern of focusing on, and not a lot of people know that in Nazi Germany, when they were burning books, the first book they burned was a Jewish pedophile. Was that not something you talked about on the show?
That was.
So I'm just saying,
Yeah, guys, I mean, you act like a victim all the time, and in all reality, they're the ones victimizing people. They're victimizing children in Palestine. They've been victimizing children throughout history. Look at Epstein Island. The Mossad was using that. We all know that was a honeypot scheme. I mean, the people who don't admit it, they're just either blind or they don't want to see.
Bob Carr was Australia's foreign minister for just a year and a half, but the Labor heavyweight found enough material to write a 500-page book on his time in the job. In the Diary of a Foreign Minister, Bob Carr details what he sees as some of the biggest problems in Australian politics. He singled out the Israeli lobby, saying its influence on Australian politics has reached an unhealthy level. Let's go to the book. The strongest criticism of all in the book is aimed at the Melbourne Jewish lobby. What's wrong with the way that group operates?
Well, the important point about a diary of a foreign minister is that you shine light on areas of government that are otherwise in darkness. And the influence of lobby groups is one of those areas. And what I've done is to spell out how the extremely conservative instincts of the pro-Israel lobby in Melbourne was exercised through the then Prime Minister's office.
So not only do they own America, they own other foreign countries as well. I mean, it's not surprising, guys. We've been able to tell for a long time, if you've been awake, that they're trying to take over the whole world. I mean, just look at it, guys. Even back in the 60s, people were talking about this. People like Malcolm X, for example.
The Palestinian struggle is not just a cry for justice. It's a blistering battle for the most fundamental human rights that every living soul on this planet should inherit by birthright. It's an unyielding resistance against the oppressive, suffocating grip of occupation and the callous denial of the most basic human dignity. Just as the civil rights movement in the United States fought against the chains of racial discrimination, so too do the Palestinian people strive to shatter the chains of occupation and tyranny. Never forget, my friends, that the Palestinians, much like African Americans in the United States, have been subjected to a heart-wrenching history of suffering and torment. The birth of Israel in 1948 brought forth the mass expulsion and dispossession of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their ancestral homes and land. This is a historic injustice that continues to haunt the lives of Palestinians to this very day. The situation in Palestine serves as a brutal reminder of the consequences of colonialism and the ruthless dispossession of indigenous peoples. It is an agonizing reminder that the fight for justice knows no borders, and we must stand united in solidarity with all oppressed peoples, whether they reside in the United States, South Africa, or anywhere around the world. Let's be unequivocally clear. Advocating for the rights of the Palestinian people is not synonymous with denying the rights and security of the Jewish people. The fight for justice in Palestine is not an assault on any particular group, but an unwavering stand against the policies of a Zionist state that has for far too long stripped Palestinians of their rights. We must remember that numerous Jewish voices also resound in the calls for justice and peace in Palestine, and their voices must not be silenced. In our relentless pursuit of justice for the Palestinian people, we must also acknowledge that it is in the best interest of the entire world to seek a just and enduring solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It is a pursuit in the name of peace, stability, and the dignity of all mankind. But let me underscore this. The battle for justice in Palestine is not merely a political struggle, it's an elemental moral battle. It's the fight for the most basic human rights of a people who have suffered these injustices for far too long. It's the fight for the right to exist in peace and security, free from the ceaseless specter of violence and dispossession. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. I implore every person of conscience, regardless of their origins or beliefs, to stand steadfast with the Palestinian people in their unwavering quest for justice by any means necessary. Let us unite in building a world where every soul can live in freedom and dignity, where the rights of every individual are not just respected, but celebrated. The struggle for justice in Palestine is a universal fight, a resonating echo of the battles waged by oppressed people across the globe. It's a battle we must champion, a torch we must carry, and a legacy we must honor. Thank you, and free Palestine.
I mean, if you listen to what he says, it's 100% true, guys. I mean, if you're paying attention to what's going on, it's like that one group of people who's like a giant octopus and just has its tentacles. in countries all around the world, and they're dragging them down, guys. They need to drag them down so that Israel can feel superior to everybody and rule over everyone. That's what they want, guys. That's what the whole World Economic Forum thing is over. That's what they're really trying to do. They're trying to take over, and they're going to give all the power to the Israelis. There's no doubt about that, guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. This was the Mansplaining Mike Show, where wokeness comes to die. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this with some sissy liberal who will cry about it for the next 45 years. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out.